This is a real aviation disaster that unfolded in the skies over Sweden. A cargo aircraft was cruising at an altitude of more than 10,000 meters when, without warning, it lost control and began plunging rapidly toward the ground. What started as a routine overnight flight would soon turn into a race against time. After the aircraft became unstable, it behaved like a runaway force of nature, diving violently toward the Earth. In this life-or-death moment, could the flight crew regain control and prevent the inevitable? To understand what went wrong, we must return to the beginning. On January 8, 2016, West Air Sweden Flight 294 was operating a late-night cargo mission. The aircraft departed from Oslo Gardermoen Airport in Norway, bound for Tromsø, with an expected flight time of approximately 1.5 hours. On board were 4.5 tons of express cargo. The crew assigned to the flight was highly experienced. The captain had logged more than 3,600 flight hours, while the first officer had accumulated over 3,100 hours in the cockpit. They were flying a Bombardier CRJ200, a regional passenger jet that had been converted into a cargo aircraft. Known for its efficiency and reliability, the CRJ200 was widely used for short-haul cargo operations. However, this particular flight would expose a fatal vulnerability. 17 minutes after midnight local time, the aircraft engaged autopilot and leveled off at 33,000 feet. If everything continued as planned, the flight would land in Tromsø in less than 30 minutes. As part of the approach briefing, the captain switched on the cockpit lights and began reviewing the landing procedures. All indications suggested a normal, uneventful flight. But disaster was already approaching. Loss of control suddenly, one of the flight instruments showed the aircraft pitching up at an unusually steep angle. The captain immediately pushed the control column forward in an attempt to lower the nose. Instead of stabilizing, the aircraft entered a rapid and uncontrolled dive. Moments later, the overspeed warning sounded. Both pilots were confused. Despite their experience, neither could determine what was causing the aircraft to behave so violently. The first officer transmitted multiple emergency distress calls to air traffic control. Almost instantly, controllers watched in shock as Flight 294's altitude dropped from 10,000 meters to 6,000 meters within seconds. The aircraft rolled inverted and accelerated toward the ground at nearly 750 kilometers per hour. Inside the cockpit, warning alarms echoed continuously, amplifying the sense of panic. The crew knew the aircraft had to climb immediately, yet their control inputs only worsened the situation. Every attempt to recover failed. Within seconds, the aircraft was beyond saving. West Air Sweden Flight 294 struck the ground at an extreme speed, leaving no chance of survival. Rescue teams required 5 hours to reach the crash site due to its remote location. What they found was catastrophic. The aircraft had been completely destroyed on impact, confirming that survival was impossible. The following day, investigators from the Swedish Accident Investigation Authority arrived at the scene to determine what caused the crash. The wreckage lay deep within one of the most remote Arctic regions, where temperatures dropped to minus 30 degrees Celsius and daylight lasted only 3 hours per day. Investigators worked against time. Using wreckage distribution analysis, they uncovered a critical anomaly. The aircraft should have been flying north, yet debris patterns showed it had veered sharply east. More disturbingly, the left wing was found south of the impact crater, while the right wing lay to the north. This indicated the aircraft struck the ground upside down and far off its intended flight path. The impact created a crater 6 meters deep, confirming that the aircraft was traveling at an extremely high speed and had suffered a complete loss of control. Remarkably, despite the violence of the crash, both black boxes remained intact. They were quickly transported to France for detailed data recovery and analysis. Investigators deployed massive resources, including more than a dozen helicopters, to recover 4 tons of wreckage and transport it back for further examination. All evidence pointed to one haunting question. What exactly caused this aircraft to spiral out of control and crash so violently from the sky? And also don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more video like this. See you in the next part.